Hello, I'm Lesley Logan. Today we're doing tendon stretch on the reformer. So tendon stretch on the reformer is one of my favorites. It's also so freaking hard for me on this particular reformer. So anyways, especially when we get to the single leg, which I will show you in another video. If you are here from the deck of flashcards, yes, I'm so glad you got the online PilatesClasses.com flashcard deck with the reformer. I hope you've also checked out our mat deck. In that deck, you'll see that there's a prep for tendon stretch. That's in a different video. And then there's a single leg tendon stretch, which is in a different video. So I'm just going to show you the tendon stretch today, which is a really great place to live for a while before you do your single leg version. So it is done with two heavy springs. If your reformer springs are evenly weighted, then you'll want to make sure you have two springs on the outside. So that your inside springs are out so that your heels and your mat don't scrape, right? But if your springs are not evenly weighted, you want to make sure that you have ideally two outside springs still. So just make sure you can change your springs that way, that the lighter springs are in the middle so you can have those heels go through. If not, you're just gonna have to deal with filling those springs on your heels, okay? It's just how it goes. So you step on, just like in the long back stretch, you want the wrist straight, hand, foot, hand, heels off. Sometimes I see like 2/3 of the foot off. You want to have the heels only off. You may want to do this turned out, especially if you're struggling to feel your hip flexors turn off. Ideally, it is done parallel, but some days I do it turned out a little bit. And then you want to make sure that you're not looking out. Your head has to hang down. You should be looking, your gaze is where your legs meet. So your gaze is not at your toes. It's not at your chest. It's not at your stomach. It's through your legs. So I want your neck long. It's just hanging out there, okay? It's going to make sure that your spine is doing the exact same thing from tailbone to the crown of your head. So here we go. I'm looking through, and then what I don't do is lean back to move the carriage. I mean, I can, and it will work, but I want you to keep your body where it is and move your legs and lift. So the hips, it's like you're a bell. You move your hips through, and notice that my hips don't go all the way through, and that's okay. I'm lifting my low ribs away from my thighs. It's just like you're rowing 1 and 2. We're not trying to put our chest on our thighs. There is space between our ribs and our thighs, and it stays there the whole time. You do 3 to 5. You really try to make sure your springs are closing. What I don't want to see is your hips go past the foot bar to move the carriage. That again would be leaning back to move it. I want you to stay in front of your foot bar, move your hips and move your hips and move your hips and move your hips like a bell. It's just your open leg rocker on your reformer. Super simple. When that becomes really good, I mean not really good, but when it becomes less scary and more possible, that's when we can add in the single leg tendon stretch, which I'll show you in another video. But for now, double check. Are you looking up as you go out and in? Then you're not ready for single leg. Are you lifting your heels to close the spring? Then you're not ready, right? So there's all these things that have to work in together to move this carriage, and I want you closing your spring. Cool? So super tempting to make it about the arms, super tempting to use your body weight to change it. Please, if you are, go back to the prep on the other card in the flashcard deck and play with that one and then come back to this one, okay? If you're wanting more tutorials, coaching, support, community around this, join us at onlinepilatesclasses.com where we do life better.